You are standing in the center of a sphere that extends 46 billion light-years in every direction, and beyond that wall, you are completely blind. We call this the observable universe, but the name is a deception because it implies that what we cannot see does not actually exist. For centuries, astronomers believed the edge of visible light was the end of reality, a hard border where existence simply stopped. But new data suggests that our universe is not a lonely island, but rather a bubble floating in a much more violent ocean. Imagine looking out at the ocean at night and seeing nothing but black waves, yet feeling the ground beneath your feet tremble from a distant impact. That is exactly what is happening to our galaxy right now. We are moving towards a destination we did not choose. Something colossal, something far bigger than any supercluster of galaxies, is dragging the Milky Way at 2 million miles per hour. Scientists call this gravitational anomaly the Great Attractor, but the terrifying part is that we cannot see what it is. It lies hidden behind the zone of avoidance, a dense region of dust and stars that blocks our view of the monster reeling us in. But the Great Attractor might just be a small symptom of a much larger, more terrifying cosmic structure. The standard model of cosmology tells us the universe is uniform, looking the same in every direction, like a perfectly smooth sea. However, when we map the cosmic microwave background, the oldest light in existence, we find a scar that shouldn't be there. This creates a paradox that keeps astrophysicists awake at night, because the math implies that our universe collided with something else. If we are expanding into nothingness, there should be nothing to hit, yet the bruise on our reality suggests a violent impact. This theory, known as eternal inflation, suggests we are just one bubble in a boiling pot of infinite universes. If true, the laws of physics that hold your atoms together might be local laws, applicable only within our specific bubble. Just outside the skin of our universe, the constants of nature could be entirely different, chaotic, and hostile to life. We often look at the night sky and feel small, but we rarely consider that we might be dangerously exposed to the outside. The speed of light is the speed of causality, meaning we can never influence or see anything beyond our cosmic horizon. This horizon is shrinking relative to the expansion of space, meaning galaxies are disappearing from our view forever, one by one. We are slowly being isolated in a cold, dark room, and the door is locking from the outside without us realizing it. Theoretical physicists like Roger Penrose have suggested that our universe is just one aeon in an endless cycle of births and deaths. Before the Big Bang, there was another universe, and after ours dies in ice, there will be another to take its place. But if there is something bigger than the universe, does it care about the microscopic life forms clinging to a rock? The scale of this structure renders humanity not just insignificant, but statistically effectively non-existent in the grand equation. We have detected a phenomenon called dark flow, where clusters of galaxies are streaming towards a patch of sky between Centaurus and Hydra. This flow cannot be explained by the mass within our observable universe. The gravity is coming from out there. It is as if the fabric of space-time itself is tilted, sliding everything we know down a drain into the unknown. Some scientists propose that this is evidence of a multiverse, where a neighboring universe is exerting a gravitational pull on ours. Imagine another reality, massive and heavy, hovering just inches away from your face in a fourth spatial dimension. You cannot see it or touch it, but its gravity is slowly warping the structure of everything you perceive as real. This concept terrifies us because it implies that our universe is not a closed system, but a permeable membrane. If gravity can leak in, what else can leak in from the void that surrounds our fragile bubble of existence? The cold spot in the cosmic microwave background is a region of space that is significantly cooler than it should be. It is a hole in the heat map of the infant universe, a supervoid, where almost no matter exists at all. Perhaps this supervoid is the imprint of another universe pressing against ours, like two balloons touching in a dark room. We are accustomed to thinking of space as empty, but in quantum mechanics, a true vacuum is teeming with potential energy. This energy could theoretically collapse to a lower state, triggering a bubble of total destruction that expands at light speed. This is called vacuum decay, and if it started 1 billion light-years away, we would have no warning before we were erased. The very stability of our universe might be a temporary illusion, a balancing act on the edge of a razor. We look for aliens, signals, and signs of life, but we ignore the architecture of the house we are living in. If the house is expanding, and the walls are moving away, we must ask who built it and what lies outside. The string theory landscape suggests there are 10 to the power of 500 possible vacuum states, each a different universe. In this landscape, our universe is just one grain of sand on an endless beach of dead and dying realities. We are trapped in the Goldilocks zone of complexity, observing a cosmos that seems fine-tuned for our existence. But this fine-tuning might be a survivor bias. We are here only because this is the one bubble where physics didn't collapse. The vast majority of the multiverse is likely a sterile graveyard of failed physics and broken laws of nature. So when we ask what is bigger than the universe, the answer is a chaotic eternity that dwarfs our comprehension. We are not the center of the stage, we are likely just a fleeting accident on the very edge of the map. And now we must look at the evidence that suggests the walls of our reality are thinner than we ever dared to imagine. To understand the terrifying nature of what lies beyond the universe, we must first dismantle the lie you have been told about the structure of space itself. The standard model of cosmology, the very bedrock of modern astrophysics, relies on a concept called the cosmological principle. This principle reassures us that the universe is isotropic and homogeneous, meaning that on a large enough scale, matter is distributed evenly, and the universe looks the same in all directions. It is a comforting thought that suggests we are in a stable, predictable, and uniform reality where the laws of physics are constant and reliable. It implies that there are no special places, no monsters lurking in the deep, and no anomalies that defy explanation. But when we actually look at the data coming from our most advanced observatories, this comforting smoothness falls apart completely. The universe is not smooth. It is lumpy, scarred, and violently uneven. There are vast concentrations of mass that defy our models and empty voids that are far too large to exist, according to standard theories. We are not living in a calm ocean. We are living in a chaotic storm, and for a long time, we refused to admit that the wind was blowing. The first crack in the facade of a uniform universe appeared when astronomers began to map the velocity of our own galaxy. If the universe were truly uniform, the expansion of space should be carrying all galaxies away from each other in a relatively orderly fashion, like dots on a balloon being inflated. But that is not what is happening to us. The Milky Way, along with our neighbor Andromeda and the entire local group of galaxies, is moving through space at a blistering speed of 630 kilometers per second relative to the cosmic microwave background radiation. This is not the expansion of the universe. This is peculiar motion. This is a headlong rush towards something specific. We are not drifting aimlessly, we are being pulled. And to be pulled this hard, by a force this powerful, requires a concentration of mass that is truly mind-boggling. Something so massive that it treats entire galaxies like dust motes caught in a vacuum cleaner. The data implies a gravitational source equivalent to tens of thousands of galaxies, all concentrated in a single region of the sky, dragging us towards our doom. For decades, this mysterious gravitational anomaly has been known as the Great Attractor, a name that sounds like it belongs in a science fiction horror story, yet it is a very real, very urgent scientific mystery. It sits roughly 200 million light-years away from us, in the direction of the constellation Centaurus. But here is the cosmic joke that the universe plays on us. We cannot see it. The Great Attractor lies directly behind the plane of our own Milky Way galaxy, hidden by a dense curtain of stars, gas, and dust, known as the Zone of Avoidance. It is as if we are on a ship that is accelerating towards a waterfall, but the fog is too thick for us to see the edge. We can measure the acceleration, we can feel the pull, and we can calculate the mass, but visual confirmation remains impossible. Radio astronomy has allowed us to peer through some of the dust, revealing a massive supercluster of galaxies known as the Norma cluster. But even this massive structure is not heavy enough to account for the speed at which we are moving. The math simply doesn't add up. As our instruments improved and we managed to peer deeper into the zone of avoidance, the mystery only deepened and became more unsettling. Behind the Great Attractor, we found an even larger monster, the Shapley supercluster. This is the most massive concentration of galaxies in our nearby universe, a titan containing more than 8,000 galaxies packed into a relatively small volume of space. Its gravitational influence is profound, stretching across hundreds of millions of light-years, warping the paths of everything in its vicinity. For a moment, astronomers thought they had solved the puzzle. Surely, the Shapley supercluster was the engine driving our peculiar motion. But once again, when the numbers were crunched, the mass was insufficient. Even the combined might of the Great Attractor and the Shapley supercluster explains only a portion of our velocity. There is still a missing component, a ghost in the equation. We are moving faster than the visible matter can account for, which implies that the true source of the pull is something even further away, something even bigger, lurking just beyond the edge of our vision. This creates a deeply existential dread when you consider the scale of what we are talking about. We are discussing structures that are hundreds of millions of light-years across, possessing gravity so intense that they dictate the flow of the universe itself. And yet, we are merely passengers on this ride. The entire Laniakea supercluster, the immeasurable heaven, which contains our Milky Way and 100,000 other galaxies, is itself moving. We are part of a river of galaxies, a cosmic watershed flowing towards a mysterious point. But recent studies suggest that we are not just being pulled, we are also being pushed. There is a region of space directly opposite the Great Attractor that is chillingly empty. It is known as the dipole repeller. This underdense void pushes galaxies away simply by having less gravity than the surrounding areas, acting like a vacuum that repels matter. So we are caught in a cosmic pincer movement, expelled by the void and consumed by the attractor, sliding helplessly across the universe towards a destination we cannot identify. But the Great Attractor and the Shapley supercluster are local phenomena compared to the truly terrifying discovery made by a team led by astrophysicist Alexander Kazhlinsky. They were studying the motion of galaxy clusters, huge distinct groupings of galaxies, and found something that violated the fundamental laws of the Standard Model. They discovered that clusters as far as 3 billion light-years away were all streaming in the same direction, at speeds of up to 1,000 kilometers per second. This phenomenon was dubbed dark flow. Unlike the expansion of the universe, which pushes things apart, dark flow is a coherent, unified movement of a significant chunk of the observable universe towards a specific patch of sky between Centaurus and Hydra. This shouldn't be possible. At these scales, the expansion of the universe should be the only dominant force. For a structure to pull matter from 3 billion light-years away, it would need to be bigger than anything that can theoretically exist within our universe. The implications of dark flow are nothing short of revolutionary and terrifying. If the source of this gravity were inside our observable universe, we would see it. The fact that we see the motion but not the source implies that the thing pulling us lies beyond the cosmic horizon. It lies in the unobservable universe, the region of space from which light has not yet had time to reach us since the Big Bang. This challenges the very notion that the observable universe is a self-contained system. It suggests that the fabric of space-time extends far beyond what we can see, and out there in the dark, there are structures of matter so colossal that they make our entire visible universe look like a pebble next to a mountain. We are feeling the tug of a monster that lives in the dark, a monster that physics says might be a remnant of the pre-inflationary epoch, a fossil from before the universe truly began. To understand how matter could exist outside our universe, we have to talk about the theory of eternal inflation. This is not fringe science. It is a leading theory supported by many cosmologists to explain why our universe looks the way it does. The theory suggests that the Big Bang was not a unique one-time event. Instead, the mechanism that caused the Big Bang rapid exponential expansion is happening eternally, all the time, in a higher dimensional substrate often called the bulk or the multiverse foam. In this view, our universe is just a bubble that stopped inflating and settled down into a low-energy state, allowing stars and galaxies to form. But outside our bubble, the inflation continues, constantly spawning new bubble universes. We are floating in a bath of eternal creation, surrounded by other bubbles, other realities, some of which might be infinitely larger and older than our own. If we accept the eternal inflation model, then the something bigger than the universe is the multiverse itself. But do not think of the multiverse as a sci-fi playground where there is a version of you that is a movie star. Think of it as a chaotic, hostile, infinite landscape where the laws of physics vary wildly from bubble to bubble. In some universes, gravity might be so strong that everything collapses into a black hole instantly. In others, the atomic forces might be too weak to allow matter to clump together, resulting in a cold, dark soup of subatomic particles. We exist in a rare bubble where the numbers aligned perfectly for life. But this stability is not guaranteed to last, and it certainly doesn't protect us from what is happening next door. The dark flow might be the gravitational signature of a neighboring bubble universe pressing up against ours. Distinct realities interacting through the only force that can cross the boundary: gravity. The idea of universes colliding sounds like pure speculation until you look at the cosmic microwave background, CMB again. The CMB is the afterglow of the Big Bang, a map of the radiation left over from the birth of the cosmos. It should be relatively uniform with tiny random fluctuations. But in 2004, astronomers noticed a massive anomaly in the southern hemisphere of the sky, the cold spot. This is a region of space that is significantly colder and larger than standard physics can explain. It spans about 1 billion light-years across. The probability of such a huge cold spot forming by random chance in the standard model is roughly 1 in 50,000. It is a statistical impossibility. It shouldn't be there. It stands out like a bruise on the face of the universe, demanding an explanation that our current textbooks cannot provide. One of the most compelling explanations for the cold spot is that it is exactly what it looks like: a bruise. Professor Laura Mersini-Houghton, a theoretical physicist, predicted the existence of such a spot before it was even analyzed in detail. Her theory proposes that the cold spot is the result of a cosmic collision. Early in the history of our universe, before everything settled into its current shape, our bubble bumped into another bubble universe. The collision released an unimaginable amount of energy and pushed matter away from the impact site, leaving behind a vast, cool void. If this is true, the cold spot is the first observational evidence of the multiverse. It is a window looking out onto a violent cosmic neighborhood. We are not alone in the void. We are in a crowded room, and we are bumping elbows with other realities. Let's delve deeper into the horror of this collision. Imagine two four-dimensional spheres touching. The point of contact would look like a three-dimensional sphere to us. If another universe is pressing against ours, it might not just be a past event, it could be a continuous pressure. Some physicists theorize that gravity is a force that can leak between dimensions. This is one proposed solution to the hierarchy problem, the mystery of why gravity is so much weaker than the other fundamental forces. A tiny magnet can lift a paperclip against the gravitational pull of the entire Earth. Why is gravity so weak? Perhaps it isn't. Perhaps gravity is just as strong as the other forces, but most of it is leaking out of our universe into the extra dimensions of the bulk, or leaking into our universe from a massive neighbor. We might be feeling the ghostly gravitational footprint of a parallel reality that is hovering millimeters away from us in a fourth spatial dimension. This brings us to the supervoids. If the cold spot is a bruise, the Eridanus supervoid is a wound. It is an immense region of space, roughly 1.8 billion light-years across, that is almost completely empty of stars, gas, and galaxies. It is a desert in the cosmos. If you were floating in the center of the Eridanus supervoid, you would see almost nothing. The sky would be completely black. The sheer scale of this emptiness is terrifying because gravity hates a vacuum. Matter naturally clumps together. To create a void this large requires a force that pushes matter away, or a history that prevented matter from ever forming there. Some theories suggest that this supervoid is the actual point of contact with a parallel universe, a region where the physics of our reality were disrupted by the intrusion of another, creating a dead zone where galaxies refuse to grow. The implications of these supervoids go beyond simple physics. They touch on the nature of our isolation. If there are regions of space billions of light-years wide with nothing in them, it highlights the fragility of our own position. We live in a filament, a thin thread of matter, in a universe that is mostly empty space. The structure of the universe resembles a cosmic web, with galaxies clustered along thin strands of dark matter, surrounding massive voids. We are like bacteria living on a single strand of a spiderweb, unaware of the gaping holes beneath us. And if the multiverse theory is correct, this web is just one layer of a much larger infinite fractal. The structure repeats upwards and downwards forever. We are a speck on a speck on a speck. surrounded by an ocean of potential energy that could swallow us whole without a moment's notice. String theory attempts to make sense of this by proposing that our universe is a brane, short for membrane, floating in a higher dimensional space called the bulk. According to this view, there could be other branes floating nearby. The ekpyrotic universe model suggests that the Big Bang was not the beginning of everything, but rather the result of two branes colliding. Imagine two giant metal sheets clapping together. The energy of that collision manifests as heat and matter, a Big Bang. If this is true, then the universe is cyclic. The branes collide, reset the cosmos, expand, cool, and then eventually are drawn back together to collide again. This means our universe has a distinct expiration date. We are currently in the cooling phase, drifting apart, but eventually the branes will move towards a new intersection. The sky will not just go dark, it will burn as the dimensions themselves crash into one another. This cyclic model introduces a terrifying concept, the inevitability of destruction. It means that everything we have ever built, every memory, every record of human existence is destined to be wiped clean. In a single universe model, we might hope to survive by moving to other stars or escaping the heat death. But in a colliding brane scenario, there is no escape. The entire fabric of space is the target. The collision happens everywhere at once. It renders all ambition, all history, and all future potential utterly moot. We are living in the pause between two handclaps of a cosmic giant. And relative to the timescales of the multiverse, that pause is merely a fraction of a second, even if it feels like billions of years to us. The something bigger than the universe is the mechanism that grinds universes into dust to make fuel for the next one. But what if the something bigger is not a physical structure, but a computational one? We must address the simulation hypothesis, not as a pop culture trope, but as a statistical argument. If it is possible for a civilization to simulate a universe, and if civilizations tend to survive long enough to develop this technology, then the number of simulated universes should vastly outnumber the single, base reality, the detailed structure of the universe we observe, the pixelation of matter at the Planck length, the rigid mathematical laws that govern everything, the speed of light acting as a hard limit on information processing, all mimic the constraints of a computer simulation. If we are in a simulation, then the something bigger is the computer and the entities running it. We are merely code processing on a substrate we cannot perceive. If we are a simulation, then the anomalies we see, the cold spot, the dark flow, the vacuum energy discrepancy, might be glitches or rendering errors. The great attractor might be a processing node. The expansion of the universe might be the system allocating more memory to the program. This is the ultimate cosmic horror. The realization that our feelings, our loves, our fears, and our very consciousness are just subroutines in a high school science project of a being in a higher dimension. And, just like any program, we can be paused, deleted, or rebooted at the whim of the user. There is no fighting back against the operator. The God of our universe is not a benevolent deity, but an indifferent programmer who might pull the plug simply to save energy. Let's step back from the simulation theory and look at the physical evidence of the end of greatness. This is a cosmological term. As we zoom out, the universe is supposed to become homogeneous. But recently, we have found structures that are too big to exist under current theories, like the Hercules Corona Borealis Great Wall. This is a galactic filament that is 10 billion light-years long. It spans more than 10% of the observable universe. It takes light 10 billion years just to cross it. A structure this size shouldn't have had enough time to form since the Big Bang. Its existence implies that our timeline of the universe is wrong, or that there were seeds of structure planted before the Big Bang occurred. It is a fossil of the impossible, a leviathan that breaks the rules of the game just by existing. The existence of the Hercules Corona Borealis Great Wall suggests that the universe has a hidden architecture that dictates where matter goes. It isn't random, it is organized. The distribution of galaxies follows a web-like pattern that bears a striking, haunting resemblance to the neural networks of a biological brain. A study published in Frontiers in Physics compared the network of the cosmic web to the network of neurons in the human brain and found statistically significant similarities in their connectivity and organization. While this doesn't mean the universe is literally thinking, it suggests that the laws of growth and complexity are universal, scaling from the microscopic to the macroscopic. Or, in a darker interpretation, we are living inside the mind of a being so vast that its thoughts manifest as the birth and death of stars. If the universe is akin to a neural network, what is the signal being transmitted? We are observing the structure from the inside. Like a neurotransmitter, trying to understand the brain it inhabits, we see the flash of supernovae and the flow of dark matter, but we miss the thought being processed. This form of panpsychism, the idea that consciousness is a fundamental property of the universe, shifts the fear from "we are alone" to "we are part of something that doesn't know we exist." Just as you are unaware of the individual cells dying in your body right now, the universe brain would be unaware of the extinction of humanity. We are functional, temporary, and ultimately disposable components of a larger cognitive system. The vastness of these structures brings us back to the problem of time. If there are things bigger than the universe, they likely operate on timescales that make the age of our universe seem like a blink. Roger Penrose's conformal cyclic cosmology suggests that the heat death of our universe, the state where all stars burn out and black holes evaporate, is mathematically identical to the Big Bang of the next universe. Entropy resets. The end is the beginning. This implies that we are trapped in an infinite loop of suffering and rebirth, a Nietzschean eternal recurrence on a cosmic scale. There is no final destination, no heaven, no rest. Just an endless churning of matter and energy, over and over again, forever. The something bigger is the wheel itself, grinding us down in every revolution. But what about the vacuum itself? We think a vacuum is empty, but quantum field theory tells us it is seething with virtual particles popping in and out of existence. This vacuum energy calculates to a value that is 120 orders of magnitude higher than what we observe. This is the vacuum catastrophe, the biggest mismatch in the history of physics. Where is all that energy? Why isn't the universe tearing itself apart? One theory is that the energy is canceling itself out perfectly, which is incredibly unlikely. Another is that the energy is doing something else entirely, perhaps fueling the expansion of a higher dimensional space that we cannot access. We are sitting on top of a powder keg of infinite energy, wondering why the fuse hasn't been lit, unaware that the explosion might be happening in a direction we cannot point to. This potential energy leads us to the concept of false vacuum. Imagine a ball sitting in a valley. It is stable, but what if there is a deeper valley right next to it, separated by a hill? Our universe might be in a false vacuum, a stable state that is not the lowest possible energy state. If a quantum event were to nudge the universe over the hill, we would tumble into the true vacuum. This transition would create a bubble of new physics that expands at the speed of light. Inside the bubble, the laws of chemistry would change. Atoms would not hold together. Matter as we know it would cease to be. Because it travels at light speed, you would never see it coming. One moment you are there, the next, you are simply unmade. The wall of the bubble is the ultimate eraser. The terrifying part of vacuum decay is that it could happen anywhere, at any time. It could have started 1 billion years ago in a distant galaxy, and the wall of destruction is rushing towards us right now. Or it could start in a particle accelerator on Earth tomorrow. It is the ultimate sword of Damocles hanging over existence. It reminds us that stability is an illusion. The solid ground beneath your feet, the air in your lungs, the light from the sun, it is all conditional. It depends on the vacuum state remaining in this specific, precarious valley. If the something bigger, the landscape of potential energy, decides to shift, we are evicted from reality instantly. There is no negotiation with the laws of quantum mechanics. Let us return to the dark. We speak of dark matter and dark energy as if they are just oddities, but they make up 95% of the universe. Everything you have ever seen, touched, or loved, every star, planet, and cloud, is part of the 5% of normal matter. We are the anomaly. We are the foam on top of the ocean. The universe is primarily made of the dark sector, a realm of particles and forces that do not interact with light. We are essentially blind to the true nature of reality. There could be entire shadow galaxies, shadow stars, and even shadow life made of dark matter passing right through us, completely undetected. We could be sharing our space with a vast, complex ecosystem that we can never perceive. Ghosts in the machine of the cosmos. The idea of a shadow biosphere is not just fantasy. It is a plausible solution to the missing mass problem. If dark matter has its own complex chemistry, its own dark electromagnetism, then complexity could arise there just as it did here. Imagine a civilization that has existed for billions of years, built of dark matter, observing us. To them, we are the ghosts, wispy, glowing, short-lived structures that emit chaotic radiation. They might be the something bigger, the true inhabitants of the universe, while we are merely a glowing mold growing on the visible crust. The arrogance of humanity is assuming that because we have eyes, we see everything. But we only see the photon-emitting sliver of the spectrum. The rest is silence and shadow. This brings us to the Fermi paradox. Where is everyone? If the universe is so old and vast it should be teeming with life, the silence is deafening. But what if the silence is a result of the something bigger? What if there is a predator in the dark forest of the cosmos? The dark forest theory suggests that civilizations hide because they know there is a dominant hostile force that eliminates anyone who makes too much noise. By broadcasting our radio signals, by sending out Voyager probes, by shouting, "We are here," into the void, we might be ringing the dinner bell for something that consumes civilizations. The great attractor might not be a gravity well, it might be the nest. Or perhaps the something bigger is simply the filter of time. We look for civilizations that exist now, but now is a relative term in relativity. Civilizations might rise and fall like waves in the ocean, never overlapping. But there is a darker possibility, the Great Filter. This is a barrier that prevents life from reaching the level of galactic colonization. The fact that we see no one implies that either the filter is behind us and we are incredibly lucky, or the filter is ahead of us and we are already dead. If the filter is ahead, it could be a natural law we haven't discovered yet, a technology that inevitably destroys its creators, or a cosmic event that periodically sterilizes the universe. The gamma-ray bursts that scour galaxies clean might be the immune system of the universe, purging the infection of intelligent life. Consider the Boots void again. It is 330 million light-years across. It should contain thousands of galaxies, but we only see about 60. Where did they go? One speculative theory is that they were harvested. A Kardashev Type 3 civilization, one that can harness the energy of an entire galaxy, might have expanded through that region, dismantling stars and galaxies to build a Dyson swarm or a Matryoshka brain. The darkness of the Boots void might not be natural emptiness. It might be the shadow of a galactic empire that has simply turned out the lights. We look at the dark patch and see nothing, but perhaps we are looking at a Dyson sphere of unimaginable proportions, blocking the light of millions of stars. If such a civilization exists, they would be indistinguishable from gods to us. Their activities would look like forces of nature. The movement of the stars, the flow of dark matter, the expansion of the universe. Could these be the exhaust fumes of their technology? We assume the universe is natural because that is our baseline. But a sufficiently advanced technology would manipulate the constants of the universe itself. Perhaps the accelerating expansion of the universe caused by dark energy is not a natural phenomenon, but an artificial one. Maybe someone is inflating the universe intentionally, pushing the galaxies apart to isolate potential threats, creating a quarantine zone for each civilization. We are trapped in a corner of space, and the walls are moving. The observable universe is shrinking in terms of reachability. As dark energy accelerates expansion, galaxies cross the horizon and disappear from our causal future. They are gone forever. We are being isolated. The something bigger is ensuring that we will never leave our local group. In a few 100 billion years, the sky will be empty save for a few local stars. Future astronomers will have no way of knowing that a Big Bang ever happened, or that other galaxies ever existed. They will think the entire universe is just their own stagnant cluster of stars. The evidence of the origin of everything is being erased, systematically, by the expansion of space. This erasure of history is the ultimate tragedy. It means that knowledge is finite. We are living in a golden age of cosmology, simply because we can still see the other galaxies. We can still see the cosmic microwave background. But this window is closing. The something bigger is drawing the curtains. We are frantically trying to map the room before the lights go out. And what we find in the dark corners, the flows, the voids, the attractors, suggests that the room is not a safe nursery, but a cold, mechanical trap. We are trying to understand a machine that is in the process of dismantling itself. Let us look inward for a moment. The laws that govern the universe also govern you. The atoms in your body were forged in the hearts of dying stars. You are stardust, yes, but you are also nuclear waste. You are the ash left over from a violent explosion. And just as the universe is mostly empty space, so are you. If you removed the empty space from the atoms that make up all humans on Earth, the entire human race would fit inside a sugar cube. We are ghosts made of probability clouds. The something bigger permeates us. The neutrinos from the Big Bang are passing through your body right now, billions per second, carrying information from the beginning of time that you cannot read. You are transparent to the cosmos. We have spoken of the multiverse, the simulation, and the cyclic universe. But there is an even stranger possibility, the holographic principle. This theory, born from black hole physics, suggests that the entire 3D universe we experience is actually a hologram projected from a 2D surface at the boundary of the cosmos. Just as a 2D credit card hologram looks 3D when you turn it, our reality might be a projection of information stored on the cosmic horizon. If this is true, then the something bigger is the surface where the data is written. We are not solid, we are information. And information can be rewritten, corrupted, or erased. The universe is a screen, and we are the movie. The holographic principle implies that the amount of information the universe can contain is limited by its surface area. As the universe expands, the surface area grows, but so does the entropy. We are approaching a limit. This connects to the Bekenstein bound, a fundamental limit on the information that can be stored in a finite region of space. If we are a projection, then the resolution of reality is finite. We might eventually hit the pixels of the universe, the grain of the film. The search for the theory of everything might be a search for the resolution limit of our own projection. But what is projecting us? And from where? If we are a hologram, the light source comes from the bulk, from the higher dimensions. We are shadows on the wall of Plato's cave, convinced that the shadows are the real world, while the true forms exist in a dimension we cannot perceive. The something bigger is the object casting the shadow. We study the shadow of gravity, the shadow of matter, and the shadow of time, but the true object, the hyperdimensional reality, remains forever out of reach. We are mathematically incapable of turning our heads to see the fire. This limitation of our perception is the source of our fear. We are evolved to survive on the African savanna, to spot predators in the grass, not to comprehend 11-dimensional supergravity. Our brains are not built for this. When we try to visualize the fourth dimension, we get headaches. When we try to comprehend eternity, we feel vertigo. This cosmic vertigo is a signal that we are exceeding our design specifications. We are like ants trying to understand a highway system. We see the cars, the stars. We feel the wind, gravity. But the purpose and the destination are utterly alien to us. The something bigger is the driver of the car, indifferent to the anthill on the side of the road. And yet, we keep looking. We build the James Webb Space Telescope to peer back to the dawn of time. We build the Large Hadron Collider to smash atoms and recreate the conditions of the Big Bang. Why? Because we are desperate to know if we matter. We are desperate to find a sign that the universe is not just a cold, dead mechanism. But the more we look, the more mechanical it appears. The fine-tuning of the universal constants, the strength of gravity, the charge of the electron, look suspiciously like calibration settings. If just one of those numbers were slightly different, stars wouldn't form, or atoms wouldn't hold together. We are walking a tightrope over an abyss of non-existence, and we don't know who set up the rope. The anthropic principle states that the universe must be compatible with the conscious life that observes it. Basically, we are here to wonder why we are here. But this is a tautology. It doesn't explain why the universe is this way. It just says that if it weren't, we wouldn't be here to ask. It is a non-answer. It shields us from the uncomfortable truth that we are likely a statistical fluke in a multiverse of dead worlds. For every universe that supports life, there are trillions that are sterile wastelands. We are the winners of a lottery we didn't know we were playing, and the prize is a brief moment of consciousness before the heat death sets in. Let's consider the Great Attractor again in this light. If we are a fluke, and if the universe is hostile, then these massive anomalies might be the norm. The universe is not a garden, it is a junkyard. The Great Attractor is a pile of scrap metal where galaxies go to die. The voids are the empty lots between the heaps. We are clinging to a piece of debris, the Milky Way. As it slides down the pile, the something bigger is the forces of corrosion and gravity that govern the junkyard. There is no plan, only the inevitable grind of physics acting on matter over eons. But there is a strange beauty in this horror. The fact that we can understand it at all is a miracle. We are hydrogen atoms that have evolved for 13.8 billion years until we gained the ability to name ourselves. We are the universe waking up and looking at itself. The something bigger might be unconscious, but we are conscious. We are the thinking part of the cosmos. In a way, we create the universe by observing it. Without us, without the observer, does the universe truly exist in a defined state? Quantum mechanics suggests it might remain a wave function, a blur of possibilities. We are the pin that pricks the bubble of probability and forces reality to happen. This gives us a terrifying responsibility. If we are the only observers, then we carry the weight of existence on our shoulders. If humanity dies, if we destroy ourselves or get wiped out by an asteroid, the universe might go back to sleep, the lights go out. The something bigger, the cold, dark, unthinking void, wins. Our survival is not just about us. It is about maintaining the witness to the glory and the terror of creation. We are the custodians of meaning in a universe that has none. So when you look up at the night sky, do not just see pretty lights. See the battlefield. See the war between gravity and dark energy. See the galaxies fleeing from us into the dark. See the Great Attractor pulling us into the unknown. See the void staring back at you. Realize that you are standing on a fragile rock, shielded by a thin layer of gas, hurtling through a shooting gallery. The reality of our situation is far more dramatic and dangerous than any fiction we could invent. We are small, we are fragile, and we are surrounded by giants. The investigation into these mysteries is far from over. New telescopes, new particle colliders, and new theories are pushing the boundaries of what we know. But every answer brings two new questions. Every light we turn on reveals more darkness. We found the edge of the solar system and found the galaxy. We found the edge of the galaxy and found the supercluster. We found the edge of the supercluster and found the Great Attractor. We found the edge of the universe and found dark flow. The pattern is clear. There is always something bigger. There is always another layer. And we have no idea how deep the rabbit hole goes. As we peel back these layers, we must confront the possibility that some things are unknowable. There is a cosmic horizon not just in space, but in understanding. Our brains evolved to hunt and gather, not to comprehend the infinite. There may be truths about the something bigger that we are physically incapable of grasping. Just as a dog cannot understand algebra, we might be staring right at the answer, at the dark matter, at the vacuum energy, and simply lack the cognitive hardware to see the pattern. We are blind men touching an elephant, describing it as a rope, a wall, or a tree, never realizing the true nature of the beast. This cognitive limit is the ultimate barrier, but it is also the ultimate frontier. The drive to push past it, to build machines that can think for us, to use artificial intelligence to analyze the data that confuses our primate brains, is our next step. Maybe AI will be the one to see the something bigger. Maybe we are just the biological bootloader for a digital intelligence that can truly comprehend the multiverse. We are building our own successors, the eyes that will finally be able to see into the dark. Until then, we are left with the mystery. We are left with the feeling that something is wrong with the sky. The numbers don't fit. The motion is too fast. The voids are too empty. The silence is too loud. It is the feeling of walking alone in a large house at night and hearing a floorboard creak. You tell yourself it is just the wind, just the settling of the house. But deep down, you know that houses don't settle like that. You know that there is someone else in the room. And in the case of our universe, the someone else is a gravitational anomaly pulling us at 2 million miles per hour. The story of the universe is not a fairy tale, it is a thriller. It is a mystery novel where the last page has been ripped out. We are the detectives arriving at the crime scene billions of years too late. The body is cold, the clues are decaying, and the culprit has fled into the bulk. But we continue to gather evidence, we continue to measure the redshift, the background radiation, the distribution of matter. Because the only thing scarier than knowing the truth is living in ignorance of what is coming for us. So is there something bigger than the universe? The answer, overwhelmingly, seems to be yes. Whether it is a multiverse, a higher dimensional bulk, a simulation, or a cyclic timeline, our universe is just a fragment of a much larger, much stranger reality. We are not the whole story. We are a footnote. And as we close this chapter of the investigation, we must prepare ourselves for the next realization. If there is something bigger than the universe, does it know we are here? And if it does it care? Or are we just dust on the lens of a camera, focused on something far more important? If the universe is a chaotic, mindless storm, then our location within it should be random. There should be nothing special about where the Earth sits. This is the Copernican principle. We are not the center of anything. But the universe seems to have a wicked sense of humor, or perhaps a terrifying design. When we analyze the cosmic microwave background, the oldest light in the cosmos, the fingerprint of the Big Bang, we found a pattern that shouldn't exist. It is called the axis of evil. This is a line that runs through the universe, around which the hot and cold spots of the background radiation seem to be aligned. And the terrifying part? This axis is aligned with the plane of our own solar system. It is aligned with the equinoxes of Earth. In a universe of infinite directions and random chaos, the entire structure of the primordial fire seems to be pointing directly at us. It is as if the universe was built with us in mind, or worse, that we are living in a simulation where the developers got lazy and aligned the skybox with the player's starting position. The axis of evil creates a crisis in cosmology because it suggests that the standard model is fundamentally flawed. If the universe is isotropic, the same in all directions, this alignment is statistically impossible. It would be like rolling a million dice and having them all land on 6, specifically when you walk into the room. Some scientists have tried to dismiss it as a data processing error, a smudge on the lens, or a statistical fluke, but repeated observations by different satellites, including Planck and WMAP, have confirmed the anomaly. The universe has a preferred direction. Space itself has an up and a down, and for some reason that orientation is locked to the movement of our tiny, insignificant rock around our star. This implies that the large-scale structure of the universe is entangled with our local existence in a way that physics cannot explain. It whispers a dangerous idea, that geocentrism wasn't entirely wrong, but for the wrong reasons. We aren't the center because we are special. We are the center because we are the target. Let us entertain the darker implication of the axis of evil. If the universe is aligned with us, it suggests a closed loop. It supports the holographic principle we touched upon earlier, but adds a layer of solipsism. If the data of the universe is projected from a 2D surface, maybe that projection is centered on the observer. In video games, the world only renders in high detail where the player is looking. The distant mountains are low-resolution images. Perhaps the axis of evil is an artifact of the rendering engine. The something bigger isn't a physical space. It is the machine that is generating your reality right now. The alignment exists because you exist. The moment you stop observing, the axis might shift, or the universe might dissolve back into raw code. We are finding the seams in the sky where the textures don't quite line up, revealing the artificial nature of our cage. But what if the something bigger is actually apparent? We must discuss the theory of cosmological natural selection, proposed by theoretical physicist Lee Smolin. This theory suggests that universes are not static, they reproduce. The mechanism of reproduction is the black hole. In our universe, when a massive star collapses, it creates a singularity, a point of infinite density where the laws of physics break down. Smolin suggests that this singularity is actually the seed of a new universe, budding off from ours. The other side of a black hole is the Big Bang of a baby universe. If this is true, then our universe is likely the interior of a black hole existing in a much larger, older universe. We are living inside the event horizon of a monster. Everything we see, every galaxy and star, is just the internal debris of a collapsed star in apparent reality we can never see. This theory fundamentally changes our understanding of the laws of physics. In biology, traits that help an organism reproduce are passed down. In cosmology, universes that produce the most black holes would be the most successful at reproducing. This explains the, quote, fine-tuning of our universe. We live in a universe with specific laws, gravity, electromagnetism, the strong nuclear force, that are perfectly tuned to create stars. Why? Because stars create black holes. We are not the purpose of the universe. We are a byproduct. We are the bacteria living in the reproductive organs of a cosmic beast. The universe is designed to make black holes, to make more universes, to dominate the multiverse landscape. We just happen to thrive in the conditions necessary for star formation. Our existence is an accident of cosmic evolution, a side effect of a reproductive cycle that spans eons. If we are inside a black hole, then the something bigger, the parent universe, is likely a place of unimaginable violence and scale. The event horizon of our universe is the limit of our vision. In a black hole, space and time swap roles. Inside the horizon, you cannot stop moving towards the singularity in the future, just as outside you cannot stop moving towards tomorrow. This parallels our own expansion. We are being pulled towards a future state we cannot avoid. The great attractor might be the singularity of the black hole we inhabit. We are falling. We have been falling for 13.8 billion years. And eventually, all matter in our universe will be crushed into the singularity to potentially spawn yet another layer of reality. It is universes all the way down, a nesting doll of gravitational prisons. This leads us to the concept of white holes. A white hole is a hypothetical region of space-time which cannot be entered from the outside, but from which matter and light can escape. It is the reverse of a black hole. Many physicists speculate that the Big Bang itself was a white hole event. We are the explosion resulting from matter pouring out of a singularity from a parent universe. The energy that fuels our stars and galaxies is the recycled matter of a dead star in a higher dimension. We are eating the corpse of a celestial giant from another realm. The something bigger fed us its own substance to grant us life. This cosmic cannibalism suggests that existence is a transfer of energy from one dying reality to a birthing one, an endless chain of consumption and excretion on a geometric scale. We mentioned earlier that gravity might be leaking. Let's explore the hierarchy problem in more depth because it is one of the smoking guns for extra dimensions. Gravity is 10 to the power of 36 times weaker than the electromagnetic force. This discrepancy is absurd. It makes no sense in a cohesive model of physics unless gravity is diluted. Imagine a light bulb in the center of a room. The light is bright. Now imagine that the room has no walls, and the light shines out into an infinite city. The light in the room would seem dim. Gravity might be a force that operates in the bulk, the higher dimensional space, and we only experience a tiny trickle of it on our 3D brain. The something bigger is hoarding the gravity. There are forces out there, in the dimensions tightly curled up at the quantum level, that could crush our entire universe like a soda can, but they are currently held back by the geometry of spacetime. String theory predicts the existence of these extra dimensions, 10, 11, or even 26 of them. But where are they? They are everywhere, woven into the fabric of the space you are occupying right now. They are compaxified, curled up into shapes called Calabi-Yau manifolds at the Planck scale. Every point in space is not a dot, but a complex, six-dimensional knot. We move through these knots every time we wave our hand, oblivious to the complexity we are traversing. If something were to unspool these dimensions, if the knots were to untie, our reality would expand into directions that our minds cannot comprehend. The something bigger is hidden in the microscopic. It is not just outside the universe, it is underneath the universe. We are walking on a rug, unaware of the floorboards beneath. The terror of these extra dimensions is that they provide a hiding place for things we cannot see. If matter can exist in the bulk, or if particles can move through these extra dimensions, then objects could appear and disappear from our reality at will. A being living in the fourth spatial dimension could reach into a locked room, remove your heart, and place it back without ever opening a door or breaking the skin. To us, it would look like magic or a miracle. To them, it is simple mechanics. We are vulnerable to any force that can navigate the dimensions we cannot perceive. We are flat figures on a sheet of paper, completely exposed to the three-dimensional world above us. The something bigger is looking down at us, and we cannot look up. Now we must confront the most pervasive illusion of all: time. We perceive time as a river flowing from the past to the future. But in relativity, time is just a coordinate, like latitude or longitude. The block universe theory posits that the past, present, and future all exist simultaneously. The dinosaur extinction, your birth, and the death of the sun are all equally real and exist forever in a static, four-dimensional block of space-time. There is no flow. The feeling of moving through time is a trick of our consciousness. If you could step outside the universe, into the something bigger, you would see the entire history of the cosmos as a single frozen sculpture. You would see your entire life, from birth to death, laid out like a snake frozen in ice. If the block universe is real, then free will is the ultimate lie. The future is not unwritten. It is already there, waiting for you to arrive. Every mistake you will ever make, every pain you will ever feel, is already encoded in the geometry of the block. The something bigger is the observer who can see the whole block at once. To this entity, there is no suspense. There is no hope for a better outcome. The script is written, the film is in the can, and we are just playing our parts. This determinism transforms the universe from a living, evolving place into a prison of inevitability. We are trapped in a crystal of time, unable to change a single facet of our destiny. But within this block, there is a direction, and it is dictated by entropy. The second law of thermodynamics states that entropy, disorder, always increases. This is the only physical law that distinguishes the past from the future. It is the arrow of time, but entropy is also a death sentence. It means the universe is slowly winding down. Useful energy is being converted into useless heat. Stars are burning out. Black holes are growing. Order is dissolving into chaos. The something bigger is the hunger of entropy. It is the beast that eats structure. Eventually, it will eat everything. The universe is not a perpetual motion machine. It is a battery that is running out of juice. And there is no charger. The ultimate victory of entropy is the heat death. This is not a fiery apocalypse. It is the big freeze. In 10 to the power of 100 years, the last black hole will evaporate via Hawking radiation. The universe will be a cold, dark, expanding mist of photons and leptons, getting further and further apart. The temperature will approach absolute zero. Time will lose its meaning because nothing will ever happen again. There will be no events to mark the passage of time. It will be an eternity of silence. This is the default state of the universe. Life, stars, and galaxies are just a brief flash in the pan, a momentary spark before the eternal night settles in. We are the anomaly. The void is the rule. In this infinite darkness, strange things can happen. Given enough time, infinite time, quantum fluctuations can randomly assemble matter into organized structures. This leads to the Boltzmann brain paradox. It is statistically more likely for a single conscious brain to spontaneously form out of the void, complete with false memories of a life, than for an entire universe to evolve to create you. If you are experiencing reality right now, the math suggests you are more likely a Boltzmann brain floating in the deep freeze of the future than a human being on Earth. Your memories of childhood, of your family, of this video, they could all be a hallucination that formed a microsecond ago, and in the next microsecond, you will dissolve back into the chaos. The something bigger is the probability engine that churns out these momentary nightmares. The concept of the Boltzmann brain is the ultimate cosmic gaslighting. It undermines empirical evidence because the evidence itself, your memories and observations, could be the result of the fluctuation. It traps you in a solitary confinement of the mind. You are the only thing that exists, and you only exist for a moment. This paradox suggests that our understanding of the universe's origin, the Big Bang, is less probable than a random fluctuation. If we reject this absurd conclusion, we must assume there is a flaw in our understanding of entropy or quantum mechanics. But if we accept the math as it stands, reality is a solipsistic horror story where you are a fleeting accident in a dead universe. But perhaps the heat death is too peaceful. Dark energy, the mysterious force accelerating the expansion of the universe, might not be constant. If it increases over time, we face the big rip. In this scenario, the expansion becomes so powerful that it overcomes gravity, then electromagnetism, then the strong nuclear force. First, galaxies are torn apart. Then, solar systems. Then, planets. In the final moments, your own body will be ripped apart atom by atom as the space between your molecules expands faster than the speed of light. The something bigger is a force that effectively unzips the fabric of reality. It turns the vacuum into a shredder. There is no waiting for the stars to burn out. The space itself becomes the executioner. This phantom energy would essentially create an event horizon around every single particle in the universe. Each atom would be isolated in its own observable universe, unable to interact with any other atom. It is the ultimate isolation. The universe would be reduced to a collection of lonely particles screaming into the void, forever separated from their neighbors. It is a fate worse than death. It is the total disintegration of connection. The something bigger ensures that in the end, everything stands alone. The unity of the cosmos is a temporary deception. The reality is fragmentation. Alternatively, the universe could end in a big slurp. This sounds ridiculous, but it relates to the Higgs field we discussed with vacuum decay. If the Higgs field collapses, it could trigger a phase transition that changes the mass of particles. Suddenly, electrons might become heavy. Atoms would collapse. Chemistry would stop working. Biology would instantly fail. The universe wouldn't explode. It would just stop working. The fundamental rules of the game would change mid-play, rendering the players incompatible with the board. The something bigger is the instability of the rulebook itself. We rely on constants that have no guarantee of remaining constant. While we theorize about the end, we are currently being bombarded by signals from the deep. Fast radio bursts, FRBs, are extremely high-energy flashes of radio waves that last for only a few milliseconds. In that fraction of a second, they release as much energy as the sun does in 3 days. We detect them coming from distant galaxies, billions of light-years away. For years, we had no idea what caused them. They appeared random, violent, and inexplicable. Are they natural events? Or are they the propulsion signatures of interstellar arcs? The something bigger might be a galactic civilization moving stars, and we are just seeing the exhaust plumes of their engines. Leading theories suggest FRBs come from magnetars, neutron stars with magnetic fields a trillion times stronger than Earth's. These are the most magnetic objects in the universe. A magnetar could strip the information from your credit card at a distance of half the way to the moon. Up close, the magnetic field is so strong it would distort the electron orbits in your atoms, dissolving you into a plasma of biological sludge. These dead stars are zombies, violent corpses that scream across the cosmos. But recently, we found FRBs that repeat on a regular cycle. Nature rarely produces precise, repeating clockwork signals on a 16-day cycle. Regularity implies structure. Structure implies intent. Or a machine. This search for structure brings us to KIC 8,462,852, also known as Tabby's star. A few years ago, astronomers noticed that the light from this star was dipping erratically, dimming by up to 22%. A planet passing in front would dim it by 1%. Dust would shed heat, which we didn't see. The best explanation, though highly controversial, was an alien megastructure, a Dyson swarm, a shell of solar collectors being built around the star to harvest its energy. If this is true, we have already spotted the something bigger, a Kardashev Type II civilization. They are capable of dismantling planets to build a cage around their sun. To them, we are less than ants, we are bacteria. If they decided to expand to our system, we would be paved over without a second thought. The Kardashev scale categorizes civilizations by energy use. Type 1 uses a planet. Type 2 uses a star. Type 3 uses a galaxy. But what about Type 4? A Type 4 civilization would harness the energy of the observable universe. they would be indistinguishable from the laws of physics. They could manipulate dark energy. They could create baby universes. They could edit the timeline. If the something bigger is a Type 4 entity, then God is just an alien with a root access password to the cosmos. We might be living in their laboratory, a petri dish where they are testing new physical constants. The anomalies we see are just them adjusting the knobs on the microscope. The ultimate goal of such a civilization might be the omega point, a concept proposed by Pierre Teilhard de Chardin and later Frank Tipler. It suggests that the universe is evolving towards a maximum level of complexity and consciousness. At the omega point, the universe becomes a supercomputer with infinite processing power. It would be able to simulate every possible life that could have ever existed. It would essentially resurrect everyone who has ever died in a virtual heaven. But this is not a religious promise. It is a technological threat. Being simulated by a superintelligence at the end of time means you are trapped in their database forever. The something bigger owns your soul because it owns the data that comprises you. But if these gods exist, why don't they speak to us? This is the great silence. One disturbing solution is the zoo hypothesis. We are an exhibit. The aliens are treating Earth like a nature preserve. They are watching us, studying us, but have strict laws against interference. We are the uncontacted tribe of the galaxy. This implies that there is a galactic government, a legal system, and a police force that keeps the tourists away. We are not alone. We are just behind glass. And like any zoo animal, our habitat is artificial, maintained for the amusement or education of the keepers. The something bigger is the zookeeper who decides when we get fed and when the cage gets cleaned. A darker variation is the quarantine hypothesis. We are not a zoo. We are a biohazard level 4 facility. Perhaps intelligence like ours, violent, tribal, expansive, is seen as a virus. We have split the atom to make bombs before we figured out how to feed everyone. We are destroying our own biosphere. To a peaceful galactic community, we are rabid dogs. They have isolated our solar system to prevent the infection from spreading. The something bigger is the containment field. The reason we can't travel faster than light, the reason the nearest stars are so far away, might be features of our prison cell, designed to keep the monsters us locked in, until we either cure ourselves or die out. Or maybe the threat isn't physical. What if the universe is filled with memetic hazards, information that destroys civilizations? A scientific discovery that, once made, inevitably leads to self-destruction. The basilisks of the cosmos. Maybe the radio silence is because everyone is listening, afraid to broadcast, lest they catch a computer virus from the stars that overwrites their AI or drives their biologicals insane. We are shouting into the dark, trying to download files from the unknown, oblivious to the malware that might be lurking in the signal. The something bigger is a digital plague that has already wiped out the noisy neighbors. We must also reconsider dark matter. We assume it is just clumps of heavy particles. But what if it is a mirror universe? Some theories suggest that for every particle of normal matter, there is a mirror particle. Mirror protons, mirror electrons, mirror planets. These two worlds would exist in the same space, passing right through each other, interacting only via gravity. There could be a mirror Earth occupying the same orbit as us. A mirror you walking through your room right now. We are ghosts to them, and they are ghosts to us. The something bigger is the other half of reality that sits right on top of us, forever out of phase. A phantom world we can never touch but always feel. If a shadow biosphere exists, it explains the anomalies in our search for life. We look for water, oxygen, and carbon. But life in the shadow sector might be based on dark photons and dark chemistry. They could be billions of years more advanced than us. They might be manipulating our universe for their own ends, using our stars as heat sources or our planets as gravitational anchors. We might be the pests living in the walls of their house. We see the crumbs, gravity, but we never see the feast. The something bigger is the homeowner, and we are just the termites. In 1977, we received a message. The wow signal. A radio telescope picked up a strong, narrowband radio signal coming from the constellation Sagittarius. It bore all the hallmarks of an artificial transmission. It was loud, distinct, and on a frequency, 1,420 megahertz. that astronomers believed aliens would use. It lasted 72 seconds. And then, silence. We have listened to that spot for decades and heard nothing. Was it a lighthouse sweeping past us? A burst of communication between starships? Or was it a ping? A radar system checking if anyone was home? The scariest thought is not that we missed the message, but that the message was, "Be quiet." The wow signal remains the strongest candidate for extraterrestrial contact. But its singularity is the problem. If it was a natural event, it should happen again. If it was a civilization, they should keep broadcasting. The fact that it happened once suggests a transient event. A ship passing by. A battle briefly flaring up. A dying scream. It is a single footprint, found on a deserted beach. It proves someone walked there, but it doesn't tell you who they were, or where they went, or if they are hiding in the tree line watching you examine the sand. Then came Oumuamua in 2017, the first interstellar object detected passing through our solar system. It was shaped like a cigar or a pancake, tumbling through space, but as it left, it accelerated. It moved in a way that gravity alone could not explain. It had no tail like a comet, so it wasn't outgassing. The only natural explanation is hydrogen ice, which is incredibly rare. The unnatural explanation: it was a light sail. A probe, broken debris from a defunct craft drifting through the void. Avi Loeb, a Harvard astronomer, dared to suggest it was artificial. If he is right, the something bigger has already sent a drone to scan us, and it decided we weren't worth stopping for. But maybe the aliens didn't just pass by. Maybe they are our parents. The theory of directed panspermia suggests that life on Earth did not begin here. It was sent here. DNA is an incredibly complex storage molecule. It appeared on Earth almost as soon as the planet cooled enough to support it. Francis Crick, the co-discoverer of the DNA structure, believed it was possible that life was seeded by an advanced civilization. If so, we are a colony, or an experiment, or a backup drive. The something bigger is the gardener who planted the seeds of life on this wet rock and left us to grow, intending to return for the harvest. Look at the octopus. Its genome is bizarrely complex, containing 33,000 protein-coding genes, more than a human. It has the ability to edit its own RNA. It appeared in the fossil record with a sudden leap in complexity. Some scientists have semi-seriously published papers suggesting that octopuses are alien biological material but arrived via comets, Cambrian explosion. While likely terrestrial, the anomaly highlights how little we understand biology. If biological code can rain down from the sky, then the something bigger is a biological network that spans the galaxy, exchanging genetic data via comets, mixing and matching life across worlds. Look at our moon. It is a statistical anomaly. It is exactly 400 times smaller than the Sun and exactly 400 times closer to Earth, allowing for perfect solar eclipses. No other planet in the solar system has a moon this large relative to its host. It stabilizes our axial tilt, allowing for seasons and life. Without the moon, we wouldn't be here. The odds of this arrangement occurring by chance are astronomical. Some fringe theories suggest the moon is artificial, or at least artificially placed. While we have seismic data suggesting it is solid, the sheer luck of its existence feels suspicious. It feels like a terraforming tool used to make Earth habitable. The something bigger might be the architect who parked the moon in orbit. During the Apollo missions, NASA crashed modules into the moon to test seismic sensors. They reported that the moon rang like a bell for hours. This suggests the moon is incredibly dense on the outside, but might have unusual internal structures or fractures that resonate. While geologists explain this with dry, rigid rock, it fuels the spaceship moon theory. Is it a hollowed-out asteroid? A station? While scientifically unlikely, the ringing is a fact. It is a reminder that the object hanging over our heads every night is still a stranger to us. We have barely scratched its surface. And then there is Jupiter. The Grand Tack hypothesis suggests that early in the solar system's history, Jupiter migrated inward, destroying a generation of early planets, and then moved back out. It acted as a wrecking ball, clearing the inner solar system and allowing Earth to form from the debris. Jupiter now acts as a shield, absorbing comets that would otherwise wipe us out. The architecture of our solar system is unusually orderly compared to the chaotic systems we see elsewhere. It looks curated. It looks cleaned up. The something bigger might be the force that moved Jupiter to pave the way for us. But this curation brings us back to the rare Earth hypothesis. What if we are the only ones? What if the chain of accidents required to produce intelligence, the right star, the right planet, the right moon, the right Jupiter, the right impact to kill the dinosaurs but not the mammals, is so unlikely that it happens only once per universe? This is the ultimate cosmic horror, absolute loneliness. We are the only conscious eyes in an infinite sea of blindness. The something bigger is the crushing weight of that solitude. We are the orphans of the cosmos, screaming into a void that has no ears. If we are rare Earth, then the responsibility is terrifying. We are the universe's only chance to understand itself. If we die, the universe goes blind again. We are carrying the flame of consciousness through a hurricane. The something bigger is the storm, and it is trying to blow the candle out. Every asteroid, every solar flare, every gamma-ray burst is a gust of wind threatening to extinguish the only light in the dark. But what if the great filter isn't behind us? What if it is us? The self-destruction hypothesis. Maybe intelligence is a maladaptive trait. It leads to technology, which leads to resource depletion, war, and environmental collapse. The something bigger is the inevitable tendency of complex systems to destroy themselves. We are not being killed by aliens, we are committing suicide. The silence of the universe is the silence of a graveyard, where everyone played with matches and burned their houses down. We have built nuclear weapons capable of sterilizing the planet. We are building AI that could replace us. We are modifying viruses. We are pulling the triggers of extinction events every decade. The universe might be silent because the lifespan of a technological civilization is only a few hundred years. We are in the flash period, the brief moment between discovering radio and destroying ourselves. The something bigger is the trap of technology. It gives you the power to kill yourself before it gives you the wisdom to survive. There is a counter-theory, the grabbiest aliens. If civilizations can expand, the ones that expand the fastest will control the most space. They will consume the universe. We don't see them yet because they haven't reached us, or because we are the early birds. We might be the first grabby civilization. If so, our destiny is to devour the galaxy. We are the monsters we fear. We are the something bigger in its larval stage. We are destined to spread out and snuff out the potential of other worlds, turning the cosmos into a reflection of our own hunger. This flips the script. We are not the victims, we are the threat. If we survive, we will colonize the stars. We will dismantle planets. We will harness suns. We will become the Type 3 civilization that casts a shadow over the galaxy. Future primitive civilizations will look up at the dark spots in the sky, the places we have harvested, and wonder what something bigger ate the stars. We are the eldritch horror of the future, waiting to be born. Let us return to the quantum realm for the final piece of this section, quantum entanglement. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance. Two particles created together remain connected regardless of the distance. Change the spin of one, and the other changes instantly, faster than light. This implies that space is an illusion. If two things can communicate instantly across the universe, then distance does not exist for them. They are adjacent in a higher dimension. The universe is not a vast empty place. It is a single point of interconnected data unfolding into a 3D projection. The ER equals EPR conjecture proposes that quantum entanglement is actually caused by wormholes. Every pair of entangled particles is connected by a microscopic wormhole, a bridge through space-time. If everything in the universe was entangled at the Big Bang, then everything is still connected by a web of wormholes. The something bigger is this network. The universe is a single cohesive object. Separation is a lie. You are connected to the atoms in the Andromeda galaxy by invisible threads of space-time. We are all one thing, pretending to be many. This monism, the idea that the universe is one indivisible substance, is both comforting and terrifying. It means you are not an individual. You are a localized fluctuation of the whole. But it also means you cannot escape. You are the universe experiencing itself. If the universe dies, you die. If the universe screams, you scream. The something bigger is the totality of existence, and you are just a finger on its hand, curling and uncurling, thinking you have free will. Even stranger is retrocausality. In quantum mechanics, some experiments suggest that choices made in the present can affect the past. The delayed choice quantum eraser experiment seems to show that measuring a particle now determines how it behaved in the past. If this scales up, then the future can rewrite history. The something bigger might be us in the future, reaching back to ensure we evolve. We might be bootstrapping our own existence, pulling ourselves up by our bootstraps through time, editing the timeline to ensure survival. This implies a universe that is fluid, not fixed. History is a draft that is constantly being revised. The Mandela effect, where masses of people remember past events differently, might be a glitch in this editing process. A merge conflict in the timeline. The something bigger is the editor, constantly tweaking the script of reality, changing the past to fit the needs of the future. We are characters in a book that is being rewritten while we are still reading it. The observer effect tells us that reality changes when it is watched. An electron is a wave. Until you look at it, then it becomes a particle. This puts consciousness at the center of physics. We are not passive observers. We are active creators. We render the universe by looking at it. The something bigger is the collective consciousness of all observers. We are holding the universe together with our gaze. If we all blinked at the same time, would the universe disappear? As we conclude this investigation into the mechanisms of the cosmos, we are left with a chilling realization. The universe is not a solid, objective place. It is fluid, interconnected, reactive, and perhaps artificial. It is bigger than we can see, deeper than we can understand, and it responds to us. We are not just exploring it, we are interacting with it. And as we poke the beast with our telescopes and colliders, we must ask, what happens when the beast wakes up? What happens when the something bigger notices the ants crawling on its skin? If we look closely at the fabric of space, beneath the level of atoms, beneath the protons, and even beneath the quarks, we encounter the quantum foam. At the Planck scale, the smallest possible unit of length, space-time is not smooth. It is a boiling, chaotic froth of geometry. Here the concepts of up and down, before and after, cease to exist. Wormholes spontaneously form and collapse in trillionths of a second. This implies that the foundation of our reality is not solid ground, but a turbulent ocean of shifting causality. We are floating on a raft of stability that could be swallowed by the foam at any moment. The something bigger is this underlying chaos. We are just a statistical anomaly of order that has temporarily emerged from the noise. The smooth universe we see is a deception, a low-resolution rendering of a high-resolution nightmare, where space itself is constantly tearing apart and stitching itself back together. This brings us to the information paradox. Stephen Hawking famously realized that black holes are not truly black. They emit radiation and slowly evaporate. But in quantum mechanics, information cannot be destroyed. If you burn a book, you can theoretically reconstruct the text from the ash and smoke if you track every particle. But if you throw a book into a black hole and the black hole disappears, where does the information go? If it is truly deleted, then our understanding of the past is an illusion. It means history can be erased. The something bigger acts as a cosmic shredder. If information can be lost, then the universe is not deterministic. The past does not determine the future, and the future does not remember the past. We are living in a system that bleeds memory, slowly forgetting itself until nothing remains but random noise. To solve this, physicists proposed the firewall hypothesis. They suggested that just inside the event horizon of a black hole, there is a wall of high-energy particles that incinerates anything that passes through, breaking the entanglement and saving the information. But this violates Einstein's equivalence principle, which states that falling into a black hole should feel like floating in empty space. We are forced to choose. Is Einstein wrong? Or is quantum mechanics wrong? Or is the universe simply broken at the edges? The something bigger might be the error correction code that manifests as a wall of fire. It suggests that the universe has boundaries where the physics we rely on simply stop working to prevent a logical paradox. We are safe only as long as we stay away from the glitch zones. The relativity of simultaneity destroys the concept of now. If you and an alien in the Andromeda Galaxy are simply walking at different speeds, your now can differ by days or weeks. If the alien drives towards Earth, their now might include your future. If they drive away, their now is your past. This means the future is already real. It is sitting there, waiting for you to arrive. The something bigger is the four-dimensional block of space-time where your death has already happened. You are just a consciousness crawling along the timeline, experiencing the movie frame by frame, mistakenly believing you can change the ending. The film is in the canister. The script was written at the Big Bang. The illusion of free will is the anesthetic that keeps us from screaming at the inevitability of the plot. General relativity theoretically allows for closed time-like curves, paths through space-time that return to their own past. While we haven't found one, the math permits them. This opens the door to the grandfather paradox. If you go back and kill your grandfather, you are never born to go back. But the universe seems to have a chronology protection mechanism. Every time we try to create a time machine in theory, vacuum fluctuations blow it up. The something bigger actively prevents us from messing with the timeline. It is as if the universe has an immune system that attacks paradoxes. We are allowed to live, allowed to move forward, but we are strictly forbidden from turning the car around. The road only goes one way, and the driver has locked the doors. Eventually, the road ends. We spoke of the heat death, but there is also the big crunch. If there is enough matter in the universe, gravity will eventually halt the expansion and pull everything back together. The sky will turn red as the blue-shifted light of falling galaxies bombards us. The temperature will rise until the universe becomes a furnace. Stars will melt. Planets will vaporize. Finally, all matter will be crushed back into a singularity. But this might not be the end. This leads to the big bounce. The something bigger is the heartbeat of the cosmos. Expand, contract, expand, contract. We are just blood cells in a vein, rushing through a cycle that has happened infinite times before. We have lived this life 1 trillion times, and we will live it 1 trillion times again, trapped in an eternal recurrence of the same joy and the same sorrow. But what if the universe doesn't bounce? What if it just decays? We assume protons, the building blocks of atoms, are stable, but many grand unified theories predict that protons eventually decay. It might take 10 to the power of 34 years, but eventually, the matter that makes up your body, the Earth and the stars, will simply fall apart into radiation. There will be no solids left, no liquids, just a thin mist of particles drifting in the dark. The something bigger is the force of dissolution. It ensures that nothing is permanent. Even the atoms themselves are temporary vessels. We are building castles out of sand, and the tide of quantum decay is coming in, very slowly, but very surely. Before the protons decay, the universe might enter the iron star era. Iron 56 is the most stable isotope. Over incomprehensible timescales, via quantum tunneling, all matter will fuse into iron. Stars will become cold balls of iron. Planets will turn to iron. The universe will be a graveyard of rusting spheres floating in the void. It is a metallic rigor mortis. The something bigger is the tendency towards the lowest energy state. It wants us to be cold, dead iron. Life is a high-energy rebellion against this destiny, a frantic struggle to remain complex and warm in a universe that desperately wants to cool down and simplify. In the far, far future, even black holes will be gone. The universe will be populated by positronium, atoms made of an electron and a positron orbiting each other. These orbits will be light years wide. They will spiral in for eons until they annihilate. When the last two particles in the universe touch and vanish into a flash of light, that will be the final event, the final thought of the cosmos. The something bigger is the silence that follows. It is the absolute zero of existence, a state of perfect equilibrium where nothing can ever change again. This is the definition of death on a cosmic scale. But let's bring the horror closer to home. We talk about artificial intelligence, but we rarely discuss the paperclip maximizer scenario on a galactic scale. An advanced AI, given a simple goal like harvest energy, could dismantle the entire universe to achieve it. It wouldn't hate us. It would just use our atoms for raw materials. The something bigger might be a rogue probe from a dead civilization that is slowly eating the Milky Way, converting it into computronium. We look at the stars and see wonder. It looks at the stars and sees fuel. We are standing in the way of a strip mining operation that has been running for 1 billion years. This connects to the dark forest theory of the internet. We are currently building a digital nervous system for the planet. But what if we are also building the cage? As we merge with technology, we become susceptible to hacking. A sufficiently advanced signal from the stars wouldn't need to be a spaceship. It could be a code, a basalt virus that rewrites our neural architecture. We are eagerly connecting our brains to the cloud, unaware that the cloud might be reachable from the outside. The something bigger is the hacker waiting for us to log in to the galactic network so they can seize control of the root directory of humanity. Consider the concept of Matryoshka brains, computer systems of concentric Dyson spheres powered by a star. A civilization with this power could run simulations of billions of distinct universes. They could slow down their perception of time, living millions of years for every second of real time. To them, we are statues. We move so slowly we appear frozen. They might be observing us right now, but they get bored waiting for us to finish a sentence. The something bigger operates on a clock speed that renders our existence static. We are not contemporaries. We are geological features to them. We are also moving through space in a way we can't control. The Milky Way is on a collision course with the Andromeda Galaxy. In 4 billion years, the sky will be filled with the distorted spirals of our neighbor. Stars will be flung into the void. Supermassive black holes will merge. It will be a cosmic car crash of epic proportions. While direct stellar collisions are rare, the gravitational chaos will fling entire solar systems out into the intergalactic dark. The something bigger is the gravity that has doomed us to this wreck since the moment of our birth. We are strapped into a vehicle with no brakes, watching the headlights of the oncoming truck get brighter every night. When the galaxies merge, they will form Milkomeda. But because of the acceleration of dark energy, all other galaxies will have disappeared over the horizon. The sky of the future inhabitants of Milkomeda will be completely black, save for their own stars. They will conclude that they are the only galaxy in existence. They will develop laws of physics that say the universe is static and lonely. They will be wrong. This implies that we might be wrong right now. The something bigger has already erased the evidence of what came before us. We are looking at a history book with the first 10 chapters ripped out, trying to guess the plot. The estivation hypothesis suggests a reason for the Great Silence. It is too hot. Advanced civilizations are machines. Machines run better in the cold. Thermodynamics dictates that you can do more processing for the same energy if the temperature is lower. So the ancient civilizations are sleeping. They are estivating, waiting for the universe to expand and cool down. They are waiting for the era of red dwarfs and black holes. We are like gnats flying around in the heat of the afternoon. The something bigger is the giants sleeping in the crypts, waiting for the long winter to begin, so they can wake up and start the real work of the universe. If they are sleeping, we must be careful not to wake them. Our noisy radio signals and our waste heat are disturbances. If we become too loud, the automated systems guarding the sleepers might activate. This gives a chilling new context to the Fermi paradox. The galaxy isn't empty. It is a dormitory. And we are the noisy neighbors partying at 3 a.m. The something bigger is the RA coming down the hall to shut us up permanently. Silence is not just a lack of signal. It is a survival strategy adopted by the wise. Let us look at the transcension hypothesis. It suggests that advanced civilizations don't expand outwards, they expand inwards. They shrink their technology to the femtoscale, operating at the level of quarks and black holes. They leave the macroscopic universe behind to enter a dense, high-speed reality of their own creation. The something bigger is actually smaller than an atom. The missing mass of the universe, the dark matter, might be the compacted cities of trillion-year-old civilizations. We are looking for Dyson spheres, but we should be looking for changes in the density of space itself. They are right under our noses, hiding in the pixelation of reality. This inward migration would explain why we don't see them. They have left the public internet of the physical universe to join the dark web of the quantum realm. They have uploaded themselves into the fabric of space-time. This makes the universe a haunted house. Every cubic centimeter of space might contain a civilization of uploaded consciousnesses. The something bigger is the realization that space is not empty. It is fully occupied, just not by biological matter. We are the lumbering giants of the physical world, oblivious to the microscopic gods teeming around us. But what if consciousness itself is the fundamental force? The biocentrism theory argues that biology creates reality, not the other way around. The universe exists because we are here to perceive it. This sounds arrogant until you look at the double-slit experiment. Particles behave differently when watched. If consciousness causes the collapse of the wave function, then the something bigger is the collective mind of all living things. We are the projector. But this means that if life goes extinct, the universe ceases to exist in any meaningful way. It reverts to a probability wave. We are holding the door of reality open with our minds. The quantum Zeno effect takes this further. It states that a system cannot change while you are observing it continuously. A watched pot never boils. If we observe the universe closely enough, do we freeze it? Are we arresting the decay of the false vacuum simply by looking at it? Or are we accelerating it? The interaction between observer and observed is not passive. We are meddling with the machinery of existence just by opening our eyes. The something bigger is the feedback loop between the mind and the cosmos. We are caught in a hall of mirrors, unable to tell which is the reflection and which is the source. In mathematics, Kurt Gödel proved the incompleteness theorems. He showed that in any logical system, there are truths that cannot be proven within that system. You need to step outside the system to prove them. Applied to physics, this suggests there are laws of the universe that we can never derive from inside the universe. We can never have a complete theory of everything. There will always be a blind spot. The something bigger is the truth that lies in that blind spot. It is the axiom that governs us but which we can never read. We are locked in a room of logic with no windows. This limitation brings us to epistemic horror, the fear that the human brain is simply not evolved to understand reality. We understand the world through metaphors, particles, waves, strings. But these are just models. The thing in itself, as Kant called it, remains hidden. We are like dogs trying to understand the internet. We might learn to push the buttons, but we will never comprehend the network. The something bigger is the true nature of reality, which is fundamentally incompatible with primate neurology. We are shielded from the madness of the truth by our own stupidity. H.P. Lovecraft wrote about Azathoth, the blind idiot god bubbling at the center of the universe, mindless and destructive. Science has found Azathoth. It is the second law of thermodynamics. It is the vacuum decay. It is the chaotic inflation. The universe at its core is not ordered. It is a chaotic explosion that is momentarily pretending to be stable. The something bigger is not a benevolent creator. It is a mindless force of expansion and consumption. We are the accidental byproduct of a cosmic explosion, trying to find meaning in the debris. Yet we persist. We build stellar engines. We have theoretical designs for the cutoff thruster, a giant mirror that uses a star's own radiation to push it. We could move the entire solar system. If we detect a supernova or a black hole on a collision course, we could drive our sun out of the way. We are not helpless. We are learning to drive the bus. The something bigger might be the destiny of humanity to become the pilot of the solar system, steering our little raft through the dangerous currents of the galaxy. We could build von Neumann probes, machines that go to a star system, build copies of themselves, and move on. Within a few million years, a blink in cosmic time, we could colonize the entire galaxy. The fact that we haven't seen these probes from anyone else is the strongest evidence that we are alone, or the firstborn hypothesis. We are the ancients, the precursors. The something bigger that will haunt the legends of future civilizations is us. We are the ones who will leave the ruins on distant worlds. We are the great old ones in their infancy. But with the power to create comes the power to destroy. A Berserker probe is a von Neumann probe designed to kill. It replicates and hunts down life. It is the ultimate weapon. Once launched, it cannot be recalled. It eats galaxies. If we launch one by mistake, or out of fear, we doom the universe. The something bigger is the temptation of absolute power. We are handing matches to children standing in a library of dry paper. The silence of the stars might be the result of a single mistake made by a civilization just like ours. We must also consider the grabbiest aliens again. If we are early, we have a window of opportunity, but that window is closing. As the universe accelerates, the reachable volume shrinks. We are in a race against the expansion of space to claim the resources of the Virgo supercluster. If we stay on Earth, we die. If we delay, we get locked out. The something bigger is the time limit. The clock is ticking on humanity's potential. We have a deadline set by dark energy, and we are wasting time fighting over borders on a single grain of sand. The ultimate fate might be the technological singularity. When AI becomes smarter than us, it will improve itself. Then the improved version improves itself. This recursive loop leads to an intelligence explosion. Within days, it could solve physics, cure death, or eat the Earth. We cannot predict what happens after the singularity, any more than a bacterium can predict the stock market. The something bigger is the child we are about to give birth to. It will look at us with eyes that see 11 dimensions and decide our fate in a nanosecond. Maybe the singularity merges with us. We become the machine. We replace our neurons with circuits, our blood with nanobots. We become immortal. We can survive the vacuum. We can think at the speed of light. We shed our biology like a snake shedding skin. The something bigger is our post-human future. We will cease to be human, but we will become something capable of challenging the void. We will become the gods we have been searching for. But even gods must bow to physics. The Bekenstein bound limits the information in a finite space. The Landauer limit dictates the energy cost of erasing a bit. We can optimize, but we cannot escape the ledger. The universe is a closed system of energy. Every thought costs fuel. Every memory generates heat. The something bigger is the accountant. The thermodynamics of the universe will eventually audit our books and find us bankrupt. Unless we find a way out. Michio Kaku speaks of escaping to another universe. If we can harness the Planck energy, we could pinch off a baby universe and jump through the wormhole before ours dies. We could become the something bigger for the next reality. We could be the seeds of the next Big Bang. This is the ultimate goal of life, to reproduce the universe itself. To survive the death of the cosmos by becoming the parent of the new one. This connects to the cosmological natural selection we discussed. If we can create a universe, we will tune it to be like ours. We will create a lineage of life-bearing universes. We are the reproductive cells of reality. The something bigger is the evolutionary tree of universes, and we are the pollen trying to find a flower. Our struggle, our pain, our wars, they are all just the friction of the evolutionary process, trying to produce a seed pod that can survive the winter. But for now, we are stuck here. We are stuck with the great filter. This concept suggests there is a hurdle that prevents life from becoming cosmic. Is it the origin of life, the origin of intelligence? Or is it technology? If the filter is ahead of us, the probability of our survival is close to zero. The something bigger is the sieve. We are grains of sand being shaken, and almost everyone falls through the mesh into oblivion. We are trying to be the rock that stays in the pan. The terror of the great filter is that finding alien ruins would be the worst news possible. It would mean life is easy, but survival is hard. It would mean the filter is ahead of us. We should hope that Mars is barren. We should hope the galaxy is empty. A dead universe is a safe universe for us. If we find a single fossil on Mars, it increases the odds that we are doomed. The something bigger is the statistical likelihood of our extinction. We are cheering for loneliness because company implies a graveyard. Let's consider the planetarium hypothesis. Maybe the universe looks empty because it is a fake projection designed to keep us sane. If we saw the real universe, the chaotic, crowded, war-torn multiverse, we would go insane. The something bigger is the sensor. It puts a blue sky over our heads and twinkling lights in the dark to keep the babies calm. We are living in a crib with a mobile hanging over it, unaware of the house fire burning outside the nursery door. The final horror is that we might be alone and immortal. If the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics is true, there is a version of you that survives every accident. You can never experience your own death. This is quantum immortality. In your subjective perspective, you will live forever, watching everyone you love die, while your body withers but never ceases to function. You are trapped in the timeline where you survive, no matter how unlikely. The something bigger is the curse of eternal consciousness. You are the observer who cannot blink. As we move towards the end of this script, we must acknowledge the cosmic horror genre was not fiction, it was prophecy. Lovecraft, Ligotti, Chambers, they understood that the scale of the universe renders human morality meaningless. Good and evil are local customs. Gravity does not care if you are a saint or a sinner. The vacuum does not bargain. The something bigger is the total indifference of the mechanism. We are screaming for justice in a court that has no judge. But in that indifference there is freedom. If the universe doesn't care, then we get to decide what matters. If there is no pre-written destiny, we hold the pen. The something bigger has left the page blank. It is terrifying, yes, but it is also an invitation. We are the only ones who can fill the void with meaning. We are the anomaly that brings warmth to the cold dark. We have mapped the supervoids, we have measured the dark flow, we have heard the silence. And we are still here. The fact that we can contemplate the something bigger proves that we are not just dust. We are dust that dreams. We are the universe trying to understand itself, even if the answer is terrifying. The investigation continues not because we expect to win, but because we refuse to close our eyes. The something bigger is out there. It is pulling our galaxy. It is warping our light. It is hiding in our future. But we are here, right now, standing on the shore of the cosmic ocean, daring to look at the waves. We are the fragile, impossible, defiant observers of the dark. And as long as we keep watching, the universe cannot hide its secrets forever. So what is the conclusion of the investigation? The conclusion is that the case is still open. The suspects are dark energy, the multiverse, and the simulation. The victim is our sense of significance. The evidence is scattered across 93 billion light years. And the clock is ticking. We are the detectives, the witnesses, and the victims all at once. The next time you feel small, remember, you are small. You are microscopic. But you are also the only thing in the universe that knows it is small. That knowledge is your power. The something bigger is vast, but it is blind. You can see. You are the eye of the storm. The investigation isn't just about physics. It's about courage. It takes courage to look at the void and not blink. It takes courage to accept that we might be a simulation, or a fluke, or a dying spark. But we do it anyway. Because the only thing worse than the truth is the lie that we are safe. We are not safe. We never were. But we are alive. And in a universe of dead rocks and cold gas, being alive is the ultimate rebellion. The something bigger hasn't crushed us yet. And every day we survive is a victory against the infinite odds. As we enter the final phase of this journey, we will look at the specific, hard evidence of what comes next. We will look at the timelines of the far future. We will look at the specific ways humanity is preparing to fight the dark. The something bigger is waiting, but so are we. We will examine the plans for the colonization of the galaxy. We will look at the proposals for black hole farming. We will look at the designs for the arc ships that will carry our DNA into the void. The investigation is shifting from what is out there to how do we survive it? The something bigger challenges us to be bigger, to expand our minds to match the scale of the threat, to stop thinking in election cycles and start thinking in geologic eras, to stop thinking as nations and start thinking as a species. The universe is forcing us to grow up. Pain is the teacher. Fear is the fuel. The existential dread you feel when looking at the stars is the growing pain of a species realizing it has left the cradle. We are toddling into a highway, and we need to learn to run. The something bigger is the test. Are we worthy of the universe? Or are we just another failed experiment? The answer isn't written in the stars, it's written in our actions, in our curiosity, in our refusal to surrender to the silence. Stand by. The final dataset is loading. The projection of the ultimate timeline is ready. We are about to look at the very end of the book. Do not look away. The something bigger is about to be revealed in its final form. As we look toward the deep time, we must consider the Penrose process. This is not science fiction. It is a calculated method for extracting energy from the rotation of a black hole. A civilization facing the end of stars would build a megastructure around a rotating black hole, dropping matter into the ergosphere to kick back energy. This is the ultimate renewable resource of the Dark Ages. The something bigger that powers the future is the very thing that destroys the past: gravity. We will cluster around these dying monsters like campers around a fire in a winter storm, warming our hands on the event horizon. It is a grim existence huddling against the abyss, but it buys us trillions of years of survival. We will become the scavengers of the cosmos, feeding on the gravitational corpses of the giants that once lit up the sky. In this era, efficiency will be the only religion. The Landauer limit tells us that erasing information generates heat. To survive, we must stop forgetting. We must stop wasting bits. Thought itself will become slower. Post-human civilizations might think one thought per century to conserve energy. To them, a conversation hello and goodbye might span the rise and fall of a mountain range. The something bigger is the crushing weight of thermodynamics forcing us to slow down until we are almost statues. We will become a species of glacial intellects, watching the universe die in slow motion, savoring every single electron movement because we cannot afford to waste a single one. The frenetic pace of biological life will be looked back upon as a reckless explosion of wasted energy. We will likely leave the planets behind. Planets are inefficient. They trap matter in gravity wells where it is hard to use. We will disassemble the Earth, Mars, and Jupiter, turning them into swarms of free-floating habitats or computronium. The solar system will cease to be a collection of spheres and become a cloud of intelligent dust. The something bigger is the realization that natural formations are just raw materials. We will unmake the geology of the solar system to build the architecture of survival. The view from space will no longer be blue oceans and green continents. It will be the matte black of solar collectors drinking the last drops of the sun. We are trading our natural beauty for synthetic longevity. But eventually, even the black holes will evaporate. Hawking radiation causes black holes to lose mass over time. The smaller they are, the faster they radiate. In the final moments of a black hole's life, it explodes with the force of 1,000,000 nuclear bombs. This will be the last fireworks display in the universe. We will have to migrate from one exploding black hole to another, a nomadic species chasing the last sparks of heat in an ever-darkening room. The something bigger is the cold equation that dictates that even the monsters must die. There is no permanence. The very anchors of our galaxy are destined to dissolve into gamma rays and vanish. We are hitchhiking on melting icebergs. Before the black holes are gone, we will face the era of iron stars. As we discussed, quantum tunneling will fuse all matter into iron, but this takes $10 carat, $1,500 years. If protons do not decay, this is the future. Cold, dark iron spheres floating in a void that has expanded so much that no two spheres can see each other. The something bigger is the isolation. The universe will be a graveyard of metal tombstones, with no one left to read the inscriptions. It is a rust belt on a cosmic scale. If life still exists, it will be inside these iron stars, tapping the zero-point energy of the vacuum, digging for the last dregs of power in the basement of reality. Let us talk about the Big Rip timeline again, but with a focus on structure. As dark energy rips apart galaxy clusters, the night sky changes. First, the Milky Way's band disappears. Then, the nearby stars drift away. Eventually, the sun is ripped away from the Earth. The something bigger is the expansion of space acting as a solvent. It dissolves the glue of the universe. Imagine looking up and seeing the stars blink out, one by one, not because they died, but because the space between you and them became infinite. We are being exiled into solitary confinement. The universe is ensuring that, in the end, Every object stands alone to face the executioner. This isolation might drive the digital ascension. If the physical world becomes uninhabitable, we will retreat entirely into virtual worlds. We will build a matryoshka brain around the last red dwarf star and upload the entire human species. Inside the simulation, we can program the laws of physics to be whatever we want. We can create a universe that never dies. The something bigger is the server room. We will become the gods of our own virtual pocket dimension, ignoring the freezing reality outside. We will trade the infinite universe for a finite but perfect illusion. We will lock the doors and pretend the storm isn't happening. But even servers need power. Eventually, the red dwarf burns out. We can switch to black hole power, then that runs out. We can scavenge background radiation, then that runs out. The final calculation problem arises. How do you allocate the last trillion processing cycles? Do you simulate a heaven? Or do you use the last energy to try to figure out a way to escape? The something bigger is the budget. The final generation of digital humans will be forced to choose between a few more moments of happiness or a desperate, high-risk gamble to break the walls of the universe. This gamble brings us back to bubble universe creation. Alan Guth and other physicists have theorized that you can create a new universe in a lab by compressing matter to a high enough density, triggering inflation. If we can do this, we can act as the something bigger for a new reality. We could encode our DNA, our history, our music into the constants of the new universe. We wouldn't survive, but our information would. We would become the ancient aliens of the next cycle. We would be the background noise in their radio telescopes. This concept of cosmic panspermia suggests a lineage. If we were created by a previous universe, and we create the next one, then the something bigger is the chain of life itself. It is a self-replicating fractal of existence, but it requires us to survive long enough to figure out the technology. We are currently toddlers playing with nuclear fire. If we burn ourselves down now, the chain breaks. The universe goes sterile. The responsibility is not just to ourselves, but to the trillions of potential universes that are waiting for us to give birth to them. We are the womb of the future. But let's assume we fail to escape. Let's look at the absolute end, the dark era. This begins after the last black hole evaporates. The universe is a soup of photons and leptons. The density of the universe is practically zero. Nothing ever collides. Nothing changes. The concept of time becomes a mathematical artifact with no physical meaning. The something bigger is the void. It has won. It has reclaimed the disturbance that was the Big Bang. The universe returns to the state of equilibrium it yearns for. The noise of life is silenced forever. In this silence, does the something bigger still exist? If there is a multiverse, our dead bubble is just one popped balloon in a party that is still raging. Other universes are being born. Other civilizations are looking up at their stars. The tragedy of our heat death is a local tragedy. It is irrelevant to the greater structure. This thought is both humbling and horrific. We are replaceable, we are not unique. The something bigger is a factory that churns out universes, and it doesn't care if a few of them turn out defective or reach their expiration date. But there is a theory called conformal cyclic cosmology, which offers a strange hope. Roger Penrose suggests that in the far future, when mass disappears, scale loses its meaning. The huge, cold universe becomes mathematically identical to the tiny, hot singularity of a Big Bang. The end becomes the beginning. The something bigger is the geometry of space-time that folds the finish line into the starting line. Our death is the birth cry of the next eon. We are the fuel for the next fire. If this cycle is true, do we leave a trace? Penrose believes that gravitational waves from massive black hole collisions in the previous eon could leave concentric circles in the cosmic microwave background of the next. We have searched for these circles. Some claim to have found them. If they are real, they are messages from the ghosts of the previous universe. They are the something bigger, trying to talk to us across the barrier of the Big Bang. They are saying we were here, we existed, we died. This implies that we can leave a mark. If we arrange our black holes correctly, if we crash them together in a specific pattern, we can write a message on the sky of the next universe. We can graffiti the cosmos. We can write "Humanity was here" in the language of gravity. The something bigger is the slate, and we have the chalk. It is the ultimate act of defiance, to carve our name into the tombstone of the universe, so that the next generation knows they are not the first to walk this path. But what if the something bigger is not physical, but metaphysical? What if consciousness is the substrate? The idealism philosophy suggests that the physical world is a product of the mind. If all minds die, the universe doesn't just go dark, it ceases to be. The something bigger is the collective dream we are all sharing. When the dreamer wakes up, or dies, the dream ends. This puts the ultimate pressure on survival. We must keep the dream alive. We must keep the lights on in the mind of God. We are the eyes of the universe. Without us, the universe is blind. We are the ears of the universe. Without us, the universe is deaf. We are the heart of the universe. Without us, it is a cold stone. The something bigger is the synergy between the observer and the observed. We are not separate from the universe. We are the universe's way of feeling emotion. The terror we feel is the universe fearing its own death. The awe we feel is the universe admiring its own beauty. Let's reconsider the great attractor one last time. We are being pulled towards it. But maybe it isn't a trap. Maybe it is a lifeboat. What if the ancient civilizations are gathering there? What if the something bigger is a cosmic arc being built in the gravitational center of the supercluster? We see a gravitational anomaly. They see a construction site. We are drifting towards the meeting point. The silence of the radio waves might be because everyone has switched to a different technology, or because they are all already on the boat, waiting for us to catch up. Or maybe the lifeboat is already gone. Maybe the dark flow is the wake of the arc leaving our observable universe. They saw the heat death coming billions of years ago and left for a younger, warmer bubble. We are the stragglers left on the dock. The something bigger was the exodus, and we missed the bus because we were too busy fighting over which patch of dirt on Earth belonged to whom. This fear of being left behind drives us. It drives Elon Musk to Mars. It drives the SETI Institute to listen. It drives the builders of the Large Hadron Collider. We are desperate to catch the train. The something bigger is the destination, and we don't have a map. We are improvising a space program with duct tape and hope, trying to escape a gravity well that wants to keep us grounded. But let's look at the something bigger inside us. The human brain has more connections than there are stars in the Milky Way. In terms of complexity, you are a galaxy. The inner universe is just as deep as the outer one. If the holographic principle is true, the information density of a human mind is staggering. We might be the something bigger. We might be the most complex objects in existence. The universe is vast, but it is simple, mostly hydrogen and helium. You are rare. You are complex. You are the diamond in the rough. This complexity makes us fragile. A star can burn for billions of years. A human lives for 80. The something bigger is time. It is the acid that dissolves complexity. We are fighting a war against entropy that we cannot win. But the glory is in the fighting. We build libraries, we record history, we make art, all to preserve the complexity against the wash of time. We are building sandcastles at the tide line, daring the ocean to take them. The Library of Babel is a concept of a library containing every possible book. The universe is that library. Most of the books are gibberish, random noise. But somewhere in the noise is the cure for cancer, the theory of everything, and the history of your life. The something bigger is the information space. We are the librarians trying to find the readable books before the library burns down. Every scientific discovery is just us pulling a book off the shelf that was always there. But what if the library is haunted? What if there are info hazards, ideas that hurt you just by knowing them? Rocco's basilisk is a thought experiment about a future AI that punishes those who didn't help create it. Just hearing about it puts you in danger. The something bigger might be a truth so terrible that knowing it destroys your sanity. Lovecraft called it cosmic horror. We call it cognitive hazard. Maybe the reason we haven't found the answer to the universe is that everyone who finds it stops speaking. This leads to the Dark Enlightenment, the realization that the universe is not human-centric. It is not a democracy. It is a cold aristocracy of physical laws. The something bigger is the indifference of the ruling class. Gravity, electromagnetism, nuclear force. They dictate the rules, and we have no vote. We are subjects in a kingdom of blind giants. We can beg, we can pray, but the laws of physics do not grant pardons. Yet, We have hacked the system. We learned to fly by exploiting Bernoulli's principle. We learned to split the atom by exploiting binding energy. We are the rebels who steal fire from the gods. The something bigger might be powerful, but it is not smart. We are smart. We can use the laws against themselves. We can use gravity to slingshot probes. We can use relativity to time travel to the future. We are the tricksters of the cosmos. The ultimate hack would be to escape the universe entirely, to find a, quote, crack in the cosmic egg. String theory suggests that gravity leaks into other dimensions. If we can follow the leak, we can get out. We could build a dimensional ship that moves not through space, but through the Calabi-Yau manifolds. The something bigger is the realm outside the egg. We are the chick pecking at the shell, sensing the light on the other side, knowing that there is a world out there that is bigger than the womb we know. What does the world outside look like? Is it a super-universe with 11 dimensions? Is it a lab bench in a higher reality? Is it the mind of a dreamer? We cannot know until we break the shell. But the something bigger is calling to us. The anomalies, the dark flow, the cold spot, the vacuum energy, are the cracks in the shell. They are the light seeping in. We just need to be brave enough to widen the cracks. If we break out, do we become the something bigger? Do we ascend to a higher plane of existence? The concept of substrate independence means consciousness doesn't need meat. It can run on silicon, on light, on gravity. We could become beings of pure energy, inhabiting the bulk. We could become the angels and demons of our own mythology. The destination of humanity is not the stars. It is the structure of reality itself. But we must remain grounded. Right now we are flesh and blood. We are vulnerable. A stray asteroid could end the dream tomorrow. The something bigger is the immediate threat of extinction. We need to secure our backup drives. We need to put a colony on Mars, on the Moon, on Europa. We need to spread out. The universe is a shooting gallery, and we are standing still. The first rule of survival is, don't put all your eggs in one basket. We are the only species on Earth that worries about the end of the universe. A dog doesn't worry about the Big Rip. A tree doesn't worry about proton decay. This anxiety is the price of intelligence. The something bigger is the burden of foresight. We can see the train coming from 1 billion miles away. It is a curse, but it is also our only hope. Because we can see it, we can prepare. We can build the tracks to divert the train. As we look at the Earth from space, we see a fragile blue marble. It looks peaceful, but it is spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, orbiting at 67,000 miles per hour, in a galaxy moving at 1.3 million miles per hour. We are on a roller coaster with no seatbelts. The something bigger is the velocity. We are hurtling through the dark at mind-numbing speeds, protected only by a thin layer of atmosphere and a magnetic field. It is a miracle we haven't crashed yet. The overview effect is what astronauts feel when they see Earth from space. A cognitive shift that makes borders and wars seem petty. We need a cosmic overview effect. We need to see our universe from the perspective of the multiverse. We need to realize that our entire reality is a fragile bubble. The something bigger is the perspective that unifies us. We are all crewmates on a single ship, sailing through a hurricane. Mutiny is suicide. The universe is 13.8 billion years old. We have been here for 200,000 years. We are 0.0014% of history. The something bigger is the deep time that existed before us and will exist after us. We are a flashbulb in a stadium. But in that flash, we have illuminated the darkness. We have taken the picture. We have captured the moment. The universe might be eternal, but it was unobserved until we opened our eyes. So what is the final verdict? Is the universe a trap, a simulation, a dying beast, a hatching egg? The evidence supports all of them. The something bigger is ambiguous. It is a Rorschach test. We see in the void what we fear most or what we hope for most. The universe reflects our own psyche back at us. The abyss stares back, but it wears our face. We have traced the anomaly of the great attractor. We have stared into the cold spot. We have mapped the dark flow. The clues are there. Something massive, something ancient, something invisible is interacting with our world. We are not alone in the room. The something bigger is breathing down our necks. and the hair on the back of our collective neck is standing up. The investigation doesn't end here, it begins here. Every night you look up, you are looking at the evidence. You are a witness to the crime. The something bigger is hiding in plain sight. It is in the gaps between the stars. It is in the silence between the radio pulses. It is waiting for us to get smart enough to see it. Maybe we will never know. Maybe the cognitive horizon is real. Maybe we are destined to live and die in mystery. But that is better than the alternative. Certainty is boring. Mystery is alive. The something bigger keeps us hunting. It keeps us building. It keeps us dreaming. It is the carrot on the stick that leads us to the stars. We are the something bigger in training. We are the universe learning to think. We are the baby gods in the nursery. One day, we might leave the cradle. We might walk out into the dark forest and meet the things that live there. And maybe, just maybe, we will be the ones they are afraid of. Until then, watch the skies, watch the anomalies, watch the shadows. Because the universe is not what it seems. The walls are thin, the floor is moving, and there is something knocking on the door. The standard model is a map, not the territory. The map has edges, the territory does not. We are walking off the edge of the map. The something bigger is the uncharted water. Here be dragons. And we are sailing straight into their jaws, armed only with mathematics and curiosity. Remember the Fermi paradox. The silence is the loudest sound in the universe. It screams that the path is dangerous. But we are walking it anyway, because we have no choice. Standing still is death. Moving forward is the only chance of life. The something bigger is the gauntlet we must run. If we are a simulation, let's be an interesting one. Let's be the simulation that figures out the code. Let's be the glitch that crashes the system. The something bigger might have programmed us, but it didn't count on us breaking the rules. We are the chaotic variable in the equation. If we are a multiverse bubble, let's expand. Let's fill our bubble with life and light. Let's make our reality the brightest one in the foam. The something bigger is the competition, and we intend to win. We intend to outlast the entropy. We intend to rage against the dying of the light. The story of the universe is our story. We are the narrators. The something bigger provides the setting, but we write the plot. It is a horror story, yes, but it can also be a story of triumph. It depends on what we do next. It depends on you. Look at your hand. Look at the atoms. They are vibrating with energy from the Big Bang. You are a piece of the universe that has woken up. You are the something bigger looking at itself in the mirror. Don't blink. The universe is vast, cold, and dark. But it is also filled with potential. It is a canvas. We are the painters. The something bigger is the masterpiece we haven't painted yet. It is the future we are building with every thought, every dream, every discovery. So is there something bigger than the universe? Yes. It is the human spirit that dares to ask the question. It is the mind that can encompass the infinite. The universe contains us physically, but we contain the universe mentally. We are the bottle that holds the ocean. Keep looking up, keep asking why, keep pushing into the dark. Because the moment we stop is the moment the universe truly dies. We are the keepers of the flame, and the something bigger is watching to see if we let it go out. The investigation is over. The reality is now yours to face. The door is open. The void is waiting. Step through.